We're going. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lolligaggers podcast. I am David.
I am Tony the Goat.
And I'm Mike.
All right, so as I saw the new Star Wars a couple days ago. Tony saw it last night, and Mike saw it about a half hour ago. So we're gonna get into this sucker. We'll try for like the first 5 minutes to give just basic impressions of how we felt about Star Wars. Not gonna give anything away. Then I will give everybody a giant spoiler warning. And if you don't heed that warning, it's your own goddamn fault. Also, if it's spoiled, it's not gonna ruin the movie for you. I mean, just go ahead and go watch it anyhow, if you're foolish enough to tread.
Well,
Anywho.
I got one spoiler. Luke is a Jedi.
Oh, motherfucker.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
pretty sure no one saw that coming.
Well,
And
also.
the rebellion is in the movie. Sorry.
Ah, shit. Well, here's one that's. I mean, let's just get into it. How'd you guys feel about the movie? Go ahead. We'll go with Mike first because you're the one with the most recent memory of it. What did you think of the movie?
Well, I'm still kind of processing it, but I mean, it was pretty interesting. I get the feeling I was kind of in the universe, immersed. So they did a good job there.
All right.
So
how about you, Tony?
I thought it was amazing. It's about time that they made a Star Wars. I can honestly say I thought it was better than the one that they released before with Mr. Abrams over there.
All right. And I'll give you mine. I honestly thought that it was a lovely movie. I enjoyed the ride because I don't like to watch movies the way a lot of like heavily critical folks are, like where they try to watch every scene and how it was technically done. I like to let the story kind of hit me and then just kind of enjoy the ride as it's going. So that's how I'm looking at it, and that was pretty good overall. How about let's see here. Was there anything that you guys didn't like without giving too much away?
I want to say what it is, but it's kind of a spoiler, but not really. I would just say it is the longest space battle in history.
All right, well that's not giving much away at all because that battle happens at kind of towards the beginning. How about you, Mike? Is there anything overall that you would say wasn't as good as it could be?
Well, I mean, there are moments that I felt maybe a little judgmental, I guess. Like, really wanted to make it clear that, hey, the Snoke's team is like they're the bad guys. They do all the bad stuff, and then the rebellion is like they do all the good stuff. They wanted to, I don't know, they made it like they draw too much of a distinction between them. Right.
To me, that was now. Of course, LucasArts did that same thing with the sixth Star Wars or the original 3. They did that with the last one where they're like, all the good guys are really good guys, all the bad guys are really bad guys, and there's not really much middle ground except for Vader at the end. Spoiler, everybody, Vader turns on Palpatine, in case you hadn't seen that one in the 30 years that it's been out. Anywho, well, let's get into that here in a little bit. Let's see. For my opinion on it was I love the overall everything. Like the opening stuff, a lot of people thought that was a little bit slow. I thought was good because it sets everything else up. Like they had the good domino setup. Like the story had a good beginning, and then there was good motivation for the middle, and then there was good motivation for most people at the end. There was only one or two little tiny things I didn't like. I kind of agree with Mike. Like there was clearly like I call it a glitter rainbow character in there. We'll get into that here in a second in the spoilery section. But there's definitely a few characters in there where they can't do anything wrong and everything they do is just so good, and there's not like a dark lining in any of them, which I think kind of makes it a little bit cheaper because they're way two dimensional. And there are ways that you can do like super good characters that have a little bit of a dark side to them without making them evil, that they could have done pretty easily. Now that being said, all three of us overwhelmingly love this movie. Like it's really, really good. It's super duper fun. And if you're on the fence, fucking go see it. It's really good. Go ahead.
It's worth the money.
Right. Anything? Go ahead, Tony. Any negatives that we say about this movie are just nitpicky little shit that we have to do because otherwise it would just be three dudes jerking off on a movie. That's the whole thing. So, all right. So we're at about 7 minutes or so. We're going to get, there's not much else we can do. It's a good movie. There are tiny little things to pick on, like little tiny, ham-fisted humor and ham-fisted good and bad sides. That's as much as we can get into without spoiler alerts. So I'm going to
say one thing. I was disappointed. I didn't hear Nerf Herder come up. It should have.
Well, I think they're trying to distance themselves, kind of be a new thing. Let's get into that here in a second. So let's do a spoiler warning. Here's your warning, okay? Here's your warning. 3, 2, 1, spoilers are happening. And to prove it to you, guys, I cannot believe that Finn went off and figured out that he was his own grandpa.
Yeah. It's kind of weird how that works.
I mean, it is kind of interesting how he had sex with that can of cream corn.
Yep.
And
always saw that coming.
So, Mike, what'd you think about that?
I mean, I think it would have been great if they would just kind of just let him do his thing, but they had to go out of the way to say you have to have sex with this can. You don't have a choice. You're morally obligated to do it.
Yeah, I want to see the blooper reel on that. Maybe one of the stagehands buttered up the can before he started having sex with it, so it kept slipping out of his hands. That'd been really funny.
We got another commentator over here on this side. It's we got Master Yoda actually over here.
All right.
He said the path to the dark side is not good. It's a bunch of cream. It's not good. Just smell it all over your body. Oh, it's all good. Oh, anyways, I'm gonna go on back and can I take that with me?
Sure, go for it.
Oh, thank you. It is not what you are. It is what you are, not what you are. We're confused. I'll see you later. Thanks for going.
Okay. All right.
Wow, Master Yoda made an appearance on Lollicasters. It's kind of.
Hey, you know what? We reach a wide audience, and I believe that proves it.
Yeah, apparently they have reception in the afterlife.
And in the past. All right. So the thing I didn't understand there at the beginning was they put all this emphasis on the Dreadnought, this badass Dreadnought ship, and it was really cool. But my question was, why was the Dreadnought the only thing firing?
Yeah, I feel like...
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I feel like the tables would have turned a lot quicker if the other ships had been giving at least supporting fire.
Right, or at the very least, if the other ships' TIE fighters had been scrambled also, because pretty close to each other.
Yeah, they should have been scrambled from the beginning.
So what are your thoughts there, Tony?
I think it was a matter of the first story was just overconfident. Hey, we got this big badass.
All right. Well, I guess I could see that too.
Yeah, I guess that would like explain their tactics if they were just not taking them seriously.
You know, another thing could be is he was too close of range. They would have firing at the other ships. They would have actually started to hit the dreadnought.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if the other Imperial big ass ships if they had scrambled their TIE fighters, like they would have had more. They would have had more ships out on the field of battle, right?
Yeah, and they wouldn't have had to have fired at the bombers next to the dreadnought. They could have just started firing on the larger ships, just
right?
To maybe like draw them away.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking a little bit. But anyway, let's get past that, because that's a minor thing. Because I honestly was the thing I dug about the bomber raid was the tension that they built. Like, now you know that one of the bombers is gonna get him. You know that's happening. But I liked the gunner that that kind of fought her way through the ship and kind of had to really, like, the last thing she did was press the button and just blew that fucker to pieces.
Right, exactly.
That part was pretty cool.
I mean, it was. I mean, Princess Leia was all like, "Yeah, she could pull for it because they lost so many people," but it was, and of course, it came up later in the movie too. It's like, "No, I learned my lesson. We can't do that because I'm Poe." And Princess Leia told me, "No, bad deal." So I can't do that anymore and be all like badass. And I like Poe being badass and kind of a little rip snot and going out there and being crazy.
Right. Although I do like the idea that they're trying to show a little bit more actually good military tactics. Now, they're not showing it all over the place, because real military tactics, for like playing a smart strategy for a long game, is not necessarily the most intense or exciting fight. Like, having a person going, it's a good idea to tactically retreat and then fight a little bit later, is very smart, and I like it, but it's not something that everybody would want to watch. Not as exciting.
Oh, by the way, I have to say, we can now track light speed. How convenient.
Yeah, although it does give them a good threat, right?
Oh, I mean, it's like.
But I mean,
I kind of like that. Like, they're coming up with like new technology.
Right,
like, it is a futuristic society.
Exactly.
So they would invent new technology.
Well, if that's the case there, Mike, why didn't they invent better bombers?
But hey,
I mean, obviously they spent all their money on the light speed detectors.
But the bombers were on the Rebel side, and the light speed detector was on the Empire side. The Empire would have more money to spend.
Well, I kind of think the whole thing too, where we're getting into it, where they put out a distress call for everyone to come help them, and no one showed up.
Well, now that's getting closer to the end of it. How about we take this stage by stage? How about that?
Yeah, we can do that, but it's still. By the way, I'm going to say it first. Most epic part of the whole movie. I'm sorry. I've always wondered what would happen when you take a ship and run another ship into it with light speed.
Okay, let's save that for later.
Ah, damn it!
Let's break it into pieces, Tony. Let's go at this stage by stage, Tony. Let's not just jump around the movie willy-nilly. That's the point of going in a stage by stage thing.
Oh, I'm sorry about being willy-nilly.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, you gotta build to the climax.
Yes. God damn it. Cannot take you anywhere, Tony. Anyway, so now we got into the beginning. Now the middle area. Basically the beginnings. I guess this is like the middle beginning, like the establishment of everybody's motivation. Let's start with Finn. What were your good parts and your bad parts about Finn's storyline, Mike?
Well, I think Finn kind of trying to jump ship was a little bit too forced. I mean, he just woke up and then he's like, yeah, I don't know. It just didn't really seem to fit his character to just be trying to jump ship right off the bat.
All right, now I honestly didn't take it as him trying to jump ship. I thought he was trying to go find Rey.
Well, he said that
more or less he was trying to save Rey because this whole beacon thing around Leia's thing, and then he got it. Was a matter of, they were wanting to protect her, not to jump into this battle that they're having right now, or pretty much their screwed up situation.
I see.
If she decided to come on back with Mr. Skywalker over there, bad deal.
All right. Well, then that kind of clears that up a little bit. So I kind of get you. That was a little frantic. What do you think there, Tony, about Finn's motivation, his beginning?
Well, I don't know. I don't think they didn't give him justice till later in the movie, in my opinion. I mean, they got a lot to work with that character. I mean, a lot.
I agree with you.
They don't seem to be putting anything on the board, and it's going to be really bad if they wait till the last movie to do anything with them.
All right, I am in complete agreement there. So what do you guys think about his companion? Now, I'm going to call her his companion because now I'm going to just throw my bias in there. I was not a fan of Rose at all. So
what was her name?
Rose.
Oh, she has a name? Because that was like the most illegitimate baby of Star Wars I've ever seen in my life.
Right. So how about you, Mike? What are your thoughts?
I didn't really care for her.
Okay, so I think we're in agreement. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tear for a second, okay?
All right, I'm going to go refill my drink, and I'll be right back.
You do that. I'm going to take a little bit of time. I'm not even going to apologize about this, because now I got nothing against the actress. She did a fine job, I guess. There was no real emotional anything about that character, okay? I was saying this earlier, she is a glitter rainbow across the entire movie. Nothing she does is at all conflicted or dark. It's 100%. I'm a good guy. I'm doing all the good guy things. These guys are all the bad guys. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing redeemable about them, even though they could have taken her into an interesting area when she got to the casino. They showed that she has contempt for something. They could have shown her going a little bit too far, trying to take down some of these dudes, give her a little bit of depth. But they didn't. For the entire movie, all she was, I'm a good guy. Look at my good guy things. We shouldn't go in and die because that's a bad thing to do. But all these bad guys that are selling weapons to all the other bad guys, they're the real bad guys. And as long as we save these kids and all these animals, we'll have done something right. Like, honestly, I think the biggest, like, if you want to know her character, look at their actions and her decision on that casino planet. What they do is, on the casino planet, they have essentially horse races with, like, space horses. And they have kids as the jockeys, because of course they do, because They're assholes, apparently. So then what they do is they sneak into the stables, even though they're being chased by the entire casino military unit. They release all these horses and all these kids, and then they ride the horses out into a field, and that's basically it. And Rose's, I guess they're about to get captured by the casino security, and Rose's final statement before they're about to get captured, quote unquote, is, well, we freed these, as long as we freed these space horses, it was worth it. But I'm sitting there in the theater going, yeah, but as soon as they kill you, all they have to do is go round those horses back up. They're all in the same herd. They're only like a mile away from the casino. And these guys have fucking spaceships. I think they can figure it out. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, they're like, Finn's like, oh, well, at least we did some damage to the city and stuff, and it's like, really put it to him. It's like, no, it's just an inconvenience, really. And like, who are they to pass judgment on their lifestyle? Like, not, I don't know if like everybody was involved with all the bad stuff. You know, it's a city. It's full of good people and bad people.
Right.
Yeah, and not to mention they just decided to land their shit right on a beach where they were told not to, and ran away.
Right.
Yeah.
So if anything, all their little terror in that casino did, other than establish one of the best characters in the entire Star Wars franchise, to me, that is my opinion. I like the hacker. We're going to get there later. Anywho, all that did, other than to establish the hacker as a character, was to be a pretty good illustration of confirmation bias or cognitive dissonance, because all that happened was they did this stuff, they fucked up, and then they justified, well, we did this much damage. But if you take...
The thing is, they didn't. I mean, it just comes down to Finn and Rose were not smart.
Right. All they were just idiots who were trying to justify their their dumb plays. But to be honest with you, the thing is, I'm pretty sure most of that was just Rose fucking up. Like, honestly, if Rose had not been a character, the exact same stuff would have happened, except they wouldn't have tried to release those horses. They wouldn't have been tased, because they wouldn't have probably landed on that beach with no clearance or whatever. Like, I guess there's no way to know that part, but without Rose being there, nothing would have changed.
You know, it actually lets you know Rose is so bad she actually got those guys screwed over for the master plot. I mean, that's what happened.
Basically.
It was her fault.
Right.
They should have just dumped her on an airlock.
Like, hey, Rose, it would be really cool, and our rockstar Finn, he'll give you an autograph if you just stand over by this door. Oh, what is there a unicorn with a broken leg that needs my help? Airlock, release. Goodbye.
Yep. Saver.
Yeah, like, honestly, I was telling Mike about this yesterday. He hadn't seen it at the time. But Rose's sister, the bomber who dies at the very beginning, has more character development than Rose has in the entire movie.
Right, they actually had to do that just to give her a purpose for being there. It's like, oh, she's this hero sister.
Right.
I would rather see the hero sister do that than Rose. Rose should have been on the bomber. That's what she should have been.
Well, if Rose had been on the bomber, she would have refused to press the button because it would kill people, and there are innocent people in there, and she would rather die and have all the heroes die than actually do anything.
That's true.
No, I don't think she'd have a problem killing bad guys.
Well, okay, maybe in her mind she's justifying killing the bad guys, but she didn't even kill any bad guys in the entire thing. She basically found ways to not, which is, okay, anti-violence is fine, but they didn't explore that. I don't believe that she genuinely hates those people. I believe that she genuinely dislikes the situation, and is trying to avoid it. I think
Well, let's get what her face character is, because she was just horrible about the movie. Let's not dwell on it. Let's
okay.
go towards
All right.
better
So
things.
yeah, let's chalk it up to Rose was just, to me, she was the pockmark on what otherwise would be a very, very good movie, which is still a great movie, but still. So how about let's go to Rey, because she's right there at the beginning too. We haven't touched on her yet. How about Tony? What do you think about Rey's start?
Ray's start was phenomenal. I loved it. I loved Mark Hamill. As of course we saw in the last one where she hands him the lightsaber. He doesn't say a damn word. I love what he does. He just tosses the lightsaber over his shoulder. He goes like, "What the hell are you doing here?" I loved it. It was great. It was awesome. It made me laugh and snicker.
All right. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I would agree. He made it very clear that he's like doesn't want any part of it right from the beginning.
Yeah, I actually love it. I was like, why do you think I came to the most secluded place in the entire universe? Why? If I wanted to help you, I would have been there.
I think it was also a good moment of levity.
Yeah, very good.
Hey, stop you guys. Why did Luke leave a detailed map saying, "Hey, find me here"?
He didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Not really.
Wasn't it R2-D2?
R2-D2.
Yeah, R2-D2 found him.
But they never even expressed why R2-D2 was shut off in the first place.
Yeah, that was kind of a thing.
Yeah, they never addressed that. I wish they would have.
I don't think they explained it very well with the whole map thing.
Maybe R2-D2 was just throwing a fit.
I don't know. Whatever, but
that seems like something he would do, actually.
Sure. Let's make that bridge in our own minds.
Yeah, I know it's up to the movie makers to properly explain things.
That's fine. That's whatever. All right, so let's get away from that a little bit, because again, who gives a shit anymore? Moving on.
Yeah.
How about the beginning of the training? That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. Where she just like didn't even resist the dark side, and she just dove right into it, going like, "Bring it on, motherfucker!" That was awesome.
Well, my favorite part, probably my second favorite part of the entire movie, was at the very, very beginning of Rey's training when he has her sit on that rock, and he's like,
"Oh yeah."
He's like, reach out and feel, and then she reaches out with her actual hands, and he's like, he starts tickling her hand with a leaf or like a stick, and he's like, can you feel it? Yes, I can feel it. Is that the Force? Yes, that's the Force. Whack. Oh, you meant reach out with my feelings. Yes, dumbass.
Great. I love that part.
That was I almost want to say that was probably Mark Hamill inspired.
Oh, more than likely.
Yeah, that seems humor, and it seems good humor.
All right, so I'm going to, from now on, like, I'm just going to tell you guys I love the rest of the movie, but I'm pretty sure my opinions are going to lay with you guys. I don't want to say too much of the same thing, so I'll just let you guys go through. I'll call out the bits that we're talking about, and that's it. How about?
All right.
So, all right. How about, let's see here. Oh, how about the Leia bits? How about Tony?
This is one thing I'm concerned about is, well, we all know Carrie Fisher died, rest her soul, and we thought they're gonna kill her somehow in the movie just to make things easier on them, and they haven't. Which I really don't want to see a CGI Carrie Fisher. I don't want to see a CGI Princess Leia. I don't want to see any of that crap because it will piss me off, honestly.
No
yeah,
problem.
That actually
Oh, go
kind
ahead.
of threw me off during the movie because I kept expecting her to die, and so like it genuinely surprised me when she like kept surviving.
Yeah, it was. The whole thing with her getting, the whole ship getting blown up and her getting tossed on out to space. Well, obviously you should die in a vacuum of space, but nope. she's got some force crap going through her, so she survives and flies through space like Iron Man. Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, the physics in the Star Wars universe are kind of wonky.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're still. But the point is, they're consistent with the original Star Wars movies physics.
Well, I mean,
Right.
in all sense, Darth Vader can keep himself alive without a suit just by using force power.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess Princess Leia that has never taken Jedi training or to hone her powers.
We
or
don't
whatever.
know that. It would honestly
They
now.
do that.
No, we don't. No, Tony. We cannot assume that in the however many years between the originals and now, Luke, her goddamn brother, who had his own Jedi training temple, hadn't shown her a thing or two. That would make more sense than anything.
Well, I mean,
You could probably just chalk it up to some kind of instinct.
you know, I would say, yeah. I mean, the will to survive could probably do that. Okay, you know, I stand corrected. Fine, so be it. You know, give the girl a lightsaber. I want to see that at least.
Now they didn't say he trained her in the lightsaber. Like he could have just shown her some very basic like, here's the Force and you can pull yourself and that's it. They didn't show her doing anything huge with the Force. They just show that little tiny thing. And again, in space, there's no resistance, so it doesn't take a lot to move you.
Well, I guess they were trying to, in the whole movie, in a sense, try and give her some intelligence as far as like, no, this is the way we got to do that. This is more.
Right. So
she did come off as a very wise character.
Right. She seemed more like a mystical type person rather than just like a go in and beat the crap out of everybody. So anywho, let's move on to honestly now this is my favorite arc of the entire movie. How about Kylo?
I'm shocked, surprised. It threw me. This is what I like about movies. This is what I like about movies the most is if I can't guess what's going to happen next, I like the movie. I'm not being predictable, and they scored with that 100% right there. They scored.
All right, Mike, what's up?
Yeah, I'm just liking his character more and more. Like he's surprising. And he feels like he has depth because he wants like Rey to be by his side so that they can work together. And
I would have to say the origin story that Kylo gave Rey. I don't think it's the real one. I really don't think it's the real one.
Well, it could be his real one because now again, I love the fact that they do this. Memories in real life, memories are not stored like in a computer. They are created. Every time you remember something in the past, you imagine it again. And over a long period of time, and particularly with that kind of guy, because he was emotionally manipulated by some evil, Sith Lord, basically, he can skew that memory to fit his own story. So in reality, what happened was, Luke Skywalker was holding a lightsaber that was turned on, and that turned into, I was waking up and Luke was about to kill me, over like 10 years. That's easy enough to do.
No, Luke was going to kill him.
But then he decided not to, right? But he didn't. The way it was depicted for both sides was, Kylo was like, oh, and he had the lightsaber raised over his head and he was definitely going to kill me. And Luke's was like, I was a minute. I thought about it for a second and then I thought not.
But which in a sense does justify Kylo Ren saying, hey, he tried to kill me. Doesn't matter for how long it was, 10 minutes, 2 seconds, or a millisecond. He had that, he was going to do it.
Right. So my point was Kylo's story was not entirely false, as you said, or skewed.
No, it wasn't. And it all came back to where, once again, Rey's sitting there on the rock with Luke Skywalker. straight up owns him. And I gotta say, I knew at that point Ray had a lot of power. It's like you made Luke Skywalker fall on back and say, "Oh boy, you're a handful." Which, yeah, I thought was incredibly nice. But as far as the whole story arc is, well, I guess it'd be the same as Empire Strikes Back. I mean, they had the whole Yoda thing. I really think they're following the story arc kind of in the same sense, or I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I want to go back a bit to the part where Kylo thought Anakin was, or not, Luke was going to kill him. Like, yeah, that would justify Kylo attacking Luke, but that wouldn't justify him killing all the other students.
Well, they did kind of put that in there as to why, because Snoke, they showed Snoke's big power. Like the thing I liked about him in particular, like there's a lot of people like, oh, he's just a bad guy. They're showing how he's a smart bad guy. He's not just, oh, I'm gonna kill everything and take over the universe because I got all this power, which he does have a lot of power. They demonstrate that when he flips around that general guy at the very beginning without even being in the same room. That shows off his like direct power with using the magical force, but they're showing what his actual strength is, which is emotional and mental manipulation to get what he wants. And that's presumably like that's what he says he did in the entire movie. Now, also, I don't know, or we don't know exactly how powerful he was. He might have just been bullshitting for half of it. Like,
see, I'm going to stop you there. I don't think Snoke is dead.
Okay.
It's been very well illustrated that Snoke is so powerful he can control death and life.
It's very possible.
Yeah, so I would not be surprised at all if we see a rendition of Snoke in the third installment of these films. It wouldn't be.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, but Mike, what are your thoughts on that?
I think they're trying to go a slightly different direction. Like they might have just killed Snoke off just to kind of develop Kylo's character more, like let him take over.
It could be
the
that
government and like be the leader.
They could have been just setting Snoke up kind of like Game of Thrones sets up a dude like, oh yeah, this is going to be the real bad guy. Oh, whoops, nope, he died.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in all sense, I mean, the way the Jedi stuff works is there's always a master and there's always an apprentice.
Well, maybe Snoke is going to do the same thing for Kylo that Yoda did for Luke and Obi-Wan also. When they're like Force ghosts.
We're seeing a different kind of thing where there is no master or apprentice anymore. There is just...
Yeah, that seems like a big theme that they're trying to do now. Is like they're trying to break the mold, trying to move in a new direction.
Well, I mean, that was pretty obvious when they blew up the freaking tree, you know?
Yeah, that part was fun.
Yeah, that was.
All right, so how about the conflict? Because we got to talk about the dynamic between Rey and Kylo, because those scenes between those two were probably, out of the entire thing, probably the richest bits of story and character growth and development were probably in those scenes.
Well, it's all about. Let's go back to Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Rey wants to save Ben. What he wants to do. It's a funny thing where Kylo Ren is named after Ben Kenobi.
Yep.
So it's a classic thing where Rey's trying to save him. Wants to be, but he wants the power too much. It's a matter of like, oh well, do you want to be peaceful and live in a forest and frolic around and leotards, or do you want to be all powerful, and have Lamborghinis and stuff like that. Basically, what it comes down to. I mean, it's do you want power and money, or do you want to be peaceful?
Well, I just love the way you depict that. You want to be cool and have a Lamborghini, or do you want to prance around in a forest like a faggot? Which one do you want? I wish Kylo had come out like a high school jock, just exactly that way. What are you doing there, queer? Dance around a tree with some little chicken rats? What's up, fag? Let's go get some tail and knock over a 7-Eleven. That's what all the cool kids did.
It's better, man. I want to see Kylo Ren go like, "You lift weights, bro. You lift weights.
You lift with the force, bro. You force lifting." Yeah, he even calls Ray a bro. What's up, bro?
What's up, force wielding bro? What's up, man?
How's it going, bro? How's it going? Yeah, you get that? It's beach season. It's beach season. All right. How about their badass fight after Snoke's, let's say, presumed death?
I loved the lightsaber being ripped in half.
That was cool.
It shows. I have a question about that too. Is like, why didn't Kylo go after his own lightsaber?
Well, I have a theory on that one, if you don't mind.
Okay.
From the very beginning, because from Force Awakens until now, Kylo has, from the Force Awakens until about the first half of the new movie, he was basically a teenage. Hang on, let me go. Please let me go. All right. From the first bit of Force Awakens until the first little bit of this movie, he was essentially a teenage boy, and he was basically experimenting with his own powers. Like, this is how strong I am, and he's apparently the strongest guy around him. And then he finds Rey, who he presumes to be about as strong, but I think he was trying to impress her a little bit. He's still trying to overcome his own emotional intelligence, which is his own control over his emotions. So when he gets to about the beginning of this movie, he's still kind of developing that. He's kind of coming at the end arc of that bit. So when it gets to the middle bit, I think he's still kind of like trying to show Rey, like, hey, I can match you just as well as you can match me. He doesn't want to go for his own lightsaber because he's not trying to kill her. He's trying to persuade her. That's my thought.
Can see that. Oh, by the way, we missed an important third part in the beginning with Kylo Ren as part of the
All right, go for it.
Snoke pretty much was lambasting him, making him feel bad or whatever. Made fun of his helmet that he had on.
Yeah.
The elevator and crushed it and destroyed it, and he never wore it again.
Well, I think that's part of his development out of the adolescent stage of his development, because he's like, I'm done with these false things. Like I thought I was going to be the new Vader. I wanted to be this idol guy, but I think he's becoming more like. Of course, he's becoming like he's probably becoming more galvanized in being a bad guy. But I think he's also becoming more emotionally mature, like the actual Darth Vader was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, that just gotta point that out. That was a major point where he got rid of that fucking helmet. That's just.
Yeah, it just goes along with the rest of the theme of getting rid of the past, because like Kylo even comes out and says you need to just get rid of the past so you can move forward.
I mean, yeah, that was his whole thing with Rey. He was like, yeah, let the rebels die. Let these guys do what they want. Whatever. We'll leave, and we'll go dominate the universe by ourselves.
Right. And the fight scene before they start trying to force tug of war that lightsaber, the fight they have before that with all those red armored dudes, thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah. Speaking of the red armor dudes, there's a lot of speculation going around the internet right now who those guys are.
Now, what do you think? Who do you think they are?
Well, it's been brought up those were the lost children of the Jedi that Kylo Ren brought back. I don't believe that. I just think they're very. Whenever you see guards for the Emperor or whatever in all Star Wars things, those guys are the elite of the elite and the badass elite.
All right, I would say that. I think it'd be really cool. Now, this is just me throwing something out. I think it'd be really cool if they had made those soldiers around Snoke the classmates of Kylo when he got taken, because they said that Kylo took some of the Jedi students from Luke. That would be really cool if they had made those guys the students. Like, they don't have to, obviously, but that would be really neat.
I'm having a feeling we're going to see that in the next movie.
All right.
I'm having a pretty good feeling we're going to see those classmates show up.
All right. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Kylo didn't kill all the students and that some went with him. And so, yeah, I mean, it's pretty likely that we're going to see him in the next movie.
Well, I mean,
I think if they would have, I think if they were Snoke's guard, they would have made it more clear that they were Jedi trained.
Yeah, like have like lightsabers.
Yeah, they probably have lightsabers or have like force powers.
All right. So,
but still, the fact that to handle 2 Jedis, 8 guys handling 2 Jedis, that's still pretty good.
Right, and they're not just 2 Jedis; they're 2 they're apparently like 2 badass Jedis.
Right.
Like the really good ones. They're not like the derpy ones. They're just I can stir my coffee with the Force. No, they're the ones that they can lift mountains and shit. So not bad.
I'm staying this till to the end. I think Kylo Ren is an actual Jedi still. He's got that conflict. I don't think he's completely turned over to the dark side, aka like Darth Vader. And I think in the next film we're gonna see him turn over to the light side, and we might see the end of the Empire or the First Order, and see the actual rebels rebuild. We'll maybe get a story arc of 3 movies with that, and then after that, it will flip back on over where some powerful will come up again. I mean, that's how they're gonna play it. Walt Disney loves this stuff. He's gonna make tons of money off of it. Smart buy for him.
Well, now what I'm thinking is, let's see. I honestly, again, I love the dynamic between Rey and Kylo. The one thing I wish they had played with a little bit more is I wish they had tugged a little bit more on the string of Rey might be bad.
Yeah.
I think it's been talked about a lot where she's a gray Jedi, where she's
Right, but she's also being depicted as like a chaotic good. Like, she's a good guy. She's just going to be the good guy the whole time. I wish they had played with the idea of her, like, dancing with it. But it doesn't feel like there's any. I don't think she was. She was kind of, and she particularly demonstrated that the darkness is not pulling her. She can stand in there and she can control it instead of it controlling her. I wish there had been more temptation rather than just her controlling it.
I mean, I would say her just in a sense going down that hole was temptation enough, where he does have that ability to look into it like Skywalker did. He'll look into it, he'll see it, he'll examine it. It doesn't mean but it's she just knows it better between right and wrong.
Right, but I wish I would have liked it if she had a little bit less, like a little more blurred right and wrong there, because when Kylo is like, hey, I want you to join me and we can, wreck shit together. There was absolutely no chance she was going to say yes. I wish there had been at least a 30% chance.
Yeah.
That's my point. It would have made that decision one way or the other that much more impactful.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
All right. Can we get to the cool part of the movie?
Sure.
Can we get there yet?
Hang on, everybody. We're going to talk about the coolest part of the entire movie of all time. Okay, here it comes. I'm going to let Tony. Hey, Tony, do you want to talk about the coolest part of the movie?
Yes. Coolest part of the whole movie is when you take another ship and you do light speed and you ram into their ship. Coolest thing ever in the whole world.
Right. Matter of fact,
Badass.
that was really, really cool. And I even liked the build to it because there's the whatever her name is, the Commodore chick. She takes over because Leia gets laid up because she had flown out of a ship and doesn't die, but she's in a coma. And this other lady takes over the ship, and she's painted as a chicken shit the whole time. Like, oh, you coward, you're trying to run away and escape, so that'll kill everybody. But she's trying to demonstrate that sometimes the smart move is not the heroic move, and it actually pays off. But then, there's actually a bit of a strange flip where she becomes the hero move, where she takes the big ass frigate, flips it around while all the escape pods are trying to get to a planet, and she just goes, hey guys, we got one more warp through your ass. And she does it.
Just the effect alone it wasn't overdone. It made me say, holy crap, did that just happen?
Well, what they did was they pulled the giant, they pulled the giant move out of anime whenever this happens whenever this happens in an anime, when there's a huge attack or a big ass explosion, instead of noise, they completely mute everything, which gives it more power.
Yeah.
Which is super ridiculously badass. Like if you ever watch I don't know, Gundam or any of those where there's a huge explosion, they'll do the same thing. But it's so seldom used in Western movies that I'm glad they pulled this trick out of the hat, because anybody who doesn't know that trick is going to get punched in the face with it. It's going to be awesome. Like even me.
At this point right now, I have to cinema sin it too, for one reason. Why did they do that in the beginning and save ourselves like an hour of time?
Well, they could have done it with. I was saying this earlier. They could have done it with the smaller ships that they don't care about. Like evacuate everybody to the big ship, and then just light speed one of those smaller ships into them.
Well, honestly, I think the concept just never really occurred to anybody, because you basically have to kamikaze yourself.
Yeah, they have.
Well, you're sacrificing a giant ship too. That's a huge resource.
Right. They're also trying to fight human nature. Like, why do I want to kill myself? I want to live. So I get that.
Well, I mean, seen a few points of that in the movie too, by the way. Giving yourself up for whatever. I mean, there's no one we gotta talk about later. It's coming up too, but I just wanted to say cinema sin, and I was like, you could have totally done it in the first place. You guys lost a lot of people on those ships, where if you just would have evacuated to a different ship, all said and done, have a nice day.
Yeah, I get that bit, but again, they're trying to fight human nature if they want to live.
Well,
and I get you there 100% too.
If they had used the light speed attack earlier, though, they wouldn't have been as close as they were to the rebel base, so they wouldn't have been able to call for help.
That's a good point, Mike.
So it wouldn't have helped them out if they would have done it sooner.
That is a good point.
True. But still, it would have given the transports. If they would have done it, Finn would have never taken off with what's her face. That's completely useless. And they all would have been in transports, and everyone they would have saved like 2 or 3 ships.
And also, Mike, everybody would have gotten laid. So,
Yeah.
just saying.
I think it's the problem of hindsight. Like, now that we know what would have happened, or like how things played out, we could see how they could have done it better. But like when you're in the moment,
Right,
like,
but
actually,
Mike.
Well, I like the whole fact that Poe took over the ship. He was like, now you're done. We're doing things my way now.
Right, but his move was the wrong move, and they depicted that later.
Yeah, exactly.
That was kind of neat because honestly, up to that point, you're like, man. At least I was like, man, this new captain lady's a jerk. Like, why isn't she just listening to Poe, the good guy? And then then Leia comes back and is like, no, you moron. She's trying to save our asses.
Just stunned them back to hell.
Yeah. So anyway, let's
I
get.
think that was actually the first stun shot we've actually seen in Star Wars. What it looks like.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But all right, now let's get to the ending bit. I know we're cutting out quite a lot, but you know there's a lot to unpack here. So let's get to the ending part when they're on the planet. Spoiler alert: some of the ships on the way down blow up, and then some of them make it. None of the important characters die. So,
of course not.
Because obviously they won't. So let's get to the fight on the planet. What do you guys think about that fight?
Mike, go ahead. I'm gonna go fill up a drink here, and I'll be right back.
I mean, they did a good job with it. Because, I mean, there were clear. There's a lot of tension built up. It's like, oh, this is like our final stand. Like, we need to hold out for someone to come save us because, you know, this is our last desperate move.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Save the rebellion.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of fun when they brought in like the mini Death Stars. Like finally, somebody was smart enough to make this smaller so you could use it somewhere else. Like that bit was kind of cool. Yeah, that was. They said it was like miniature Death Star technology.
Yeah, that was pretty badass weapon.
Yeah. And then they had those like rickety like rust bucket little like speeder ships. Those things were fucking fun.
Yeah, I think that was. I don't know. That seemed more like a comedy relief kind of thing. Like I didn't really expect them to do a whole lot.
Well, yeah, but what they were doing was they were buying time as a distraction.
Yeah.
They're like because they didn't know where Rey was because she pops up in the middle of the fight to kind of help everybody as a little bit of a Deus Ex, which is fine every once in a while. But like they're just like, you know, we're probably gonna fucking die, but we need to buy all the time we can, and let's do what we can. The one thing that I wish they would have let happen is there was a hero play happening, and the entire movie's concept was the hero play doesn't always pay off. Like they do one earlier with that ramming the light speed ship into the enemy ships. That one's definitely a hero last ditch effort. I wish they would have let there was one that Finn was trying to do on the planet. They were ramming that mini Death Star, and they're like, well, if that thing fires up at the door, even though it's a mountainside, it's cutting through there like an egg. They even say it cracks through like an egg. And I wish they would have let Finn just dive bomb the shit out of that thing and pull the hero play, because that was like, oh man, is he gonna do it? And then here comes the fucking hero of the entire movie, Rose, to save our day.
Yeah, because Rose is like, oh well, like if you die, then like what's I can forget what she says, but like
I'm trying to save the things that I love. And then
it's like we need to stop fighting the things we hate. We need to start saving the things we love.
Yeah, but I'm like, yeah, but you saved one guy and they're about to melt all your dudes.
Yeah, and then they're gonna come back and kill them. Anyways.
Yeah. So great logic there, dumbass.
Yeah, I would have to By the way, don't those things have like ejections or something? I mean, anything?
Well, they didn't really show any ejection or anything, but they also showed they were broken down. But I don't think Finn was looking to eject. I think he was like, you know what, you fucking like this was my. I thought this was a great arc for him if they had let him just go, because his whole thing was, you know, I was a clone or I was brainwashed as a kid, and you guys were having me go, and all I have had my entire life is all this shit. And now I'm going to ram it straight up your ass and save all those people. Now I really am a hero. That's what his arc was going to be.
In the sense that could have been like an Independence Day Randy Quaid.
That's exactly. As soon as that happened, I was like, hey, boy. I was saying this to myself in the theater. I was like, hey, boys, I'm back. Wham. Fuck you, Rose. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with Finn just jumping out the last minute.
That would have been fine too.
Somehow surviving.
That
like,
would have been.
Maybe he's just like jacked up from like the high speed collision. But...
Right. That would have been really cool too. But I mean, that would have at least been a character arc. It would have been his decision to do so. But not only now, this is back to my rant for Rose. Okay. Every movie, the thing that makes a story wonderful is the arc of the characters. You know, they have some growth and progression. You know, Poe learns that, you know, always doing the hero play isn't a great thing. Rey figures out her strengths and weaknesses. So does Kylo, even though he's a bad guy. He has a growth in there somewhere. Even Luke relearns some stuff. All those guys have a progression. And Finn was trying to do that. Rose is the character who not only has no progression because she's the exact same character through the entire thing, she robs Finn of his arc.
Actually, you know what? Rose robbed us of a good explosion. And you know what? As a man, it's enough to piss me off.
All right, Tony, you know all that cool shit that I was just ranting about? You just ruined it. Thanks. You were just the Rose of our podcast there. Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, Rose did do one good thing. Like, she stopped Finn, so we did get to see the cannon fire.
Yeah, we did get to see the cannon fire. That's cool too.
It wasn't a big explosion though.
But my point is, if the cannon had blown up, it still could have, you know, the beam still would have gone through. It's not going to stop light. It's just going to blow up the cannon so they can't shoot it again.
But Rose did rob us of a big explosion.
Fucking Rose. Okay, I think we can all just agree the Rose is the shittiest character on the entire thing.
Yeah, they should put
Jar Jar Binks.
Well,
saved Christmas.
Okay,
you know?
Jar Jar Binks was bad, but he was like the worst turd on a mountain of shit. Okay, Rose is like a bad turd on a mountain of awesome.
No, Jar Jar Binks and Rose play patty cake together going like, how can we fuck up this movie?
You know what? I think Jar Jar Binks reincarnated as Rose.
Oh, that could be it.
Like, they got rid of the racist accent, but, I mean, still there.
The timeline would fit.
Makes sense. Do you think Rose is actually a Sith Lord in disguise?
It would make sense.
She's like, yes, I'm going to pretend to be this glitter rainbow, but actually, I am teaching you the dumbest fucking strategies on the planet just to corrupt your emotion.
Yeah, she's sabotaging them.
Yeah, and she's doing a great job at it. Maybe somebody will come up with like a fan theory of how somehow her eyes turn red every time something dumb happens.
All right, so let's okay, big F Rose again. We really don't like her, do we?
She's just such a horrible. Like, I get why they had her, because it's fucking Disney putting their Disney stamp and bubblegum and rainbows everywhere. Like, that's where I think she came from. Like, we gotta have like a character that all the kids can get behind, even though all the badass shit is even way better. But you know, there's.
Dave, I have a question for you.
What's up?
Notice right away. Dave, Mike, I got a question for you. Do you think Shrek would have been better than Rose in the whole
Fuck
movie?
yeah. Shrek would at least, I mean, he would have used tired jokes and all the fart jokes on the planet, which is the laziest fucking joke on the planet. But at least he wouldn't have been so goddamn like, oh, I gotta be this angel that saves everything that actually doesn't save anyone. She's just a depiction of how innocent characters like that are at such a disadvantage in that universe. Even though she's on the rebel side, who should be killing people, and she should know that. But she's just so caught up in her own, like, 100% pure white world that as soon as she comes up with a conflict, it just depicts that she doesn't know how to deal with it. She's at a huge disadvantage the entire movie because of it.
All right, let's get off those. Let's go to the next. By the way, can I say this next part coming up?
Go for it.
Next best line in the whole movie.
Okay, all right. Let's set it up real quick. It's the part where Luke shows up at the fight, and he's.
By the way, we have to cinema sin the shit out of that.
Would you stop with the cinema sin shit?
Oh my god.
This is not fucking cinema sins. We're not cinema sins. They're a good channel, but stop it. You can just say the bad stuff about it.
All right.
All right. I don't want to have to cut a check, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, it's a general term.
Not anymore.
All right. Bad part of the movie.
There you go.
Luke shows up from out of nowhere. Back entrance. Assumed. Horrible. But anyways, carry on.
Okay, we're setting up the whole thing. So the rebels are about to get their asses whipped, and they know it. But then all of a sudden, Luke shows up from out of nowhere, just like John Cena. And let's see, and he's like, "Step back, everybody! The door was blown open, so I'm gonna go have the showdown of the century." And he stares down all these AT-ATs and all these ships and everything. And Kylo is showing the respect that needs to be shown, I believe, and has everybody fire to holy hell at Luke Skywalker. Which, by the way, this is a scene that was essentially ripped out of the old DBZ overpowered character textbook. Like, whenever there's an overpowered character on Dragon Ball Z, they would just fire everything they had at the person, and they walk away unscathed. So anyway, take it away, Tony. What's your favorite line?
Favorite line of the whole movie right here is, "Think you hit him?"
Okay, so we waited that entire time for you to say that line, and you fucked it up.
No. It was a good. By the way, the Admiral Hunt kind of guy was. Go ahead. Whatever.
No, say what you were going to say is what I'm saying, because you got there and then you didn't say the line. By the way, I'm going through puberty, everybody. That's why my voice cracked there. So, but you got through that whole thing and you didn't say the line. The line is, "Do you think you got him?"
Well, hit him, got him, whatever. I mean, the whole thing is there. I mean, it's like an obscene amount of fire blast going towards Luke Skywalker. And after, like, I would say 15 seconds of the movie, maybe 30, you stop. Admiral Hunt gets all pissed off, going like, "Would you guys just stop? Seriously? You think you got him?"
Yeah, that bit was kind of funny, but it's one of those. Now I'm gonna be as honest as I can be. I love that bad guy, that Huxley fella. I think he's just the most Nazi character ever. Unapologetically, this guy is the bad guy, which is fine. You can have black hats that are pure black hats. That's fine. Not a racist thing, by the way. Just a term. Okay? You can have pure black hats, and that's fine. but I wish they had kept him. Let's see. I wish they had kept him serious when it's his decision. Like at the beginning when Snoke was throwing him around, that was funny, and it wasn't his choice to do that. But later when he gives that, that snarky line, I wish they hadn't done that because I don't want that character to be purposely funny. I want him to just be like.
The thing is with Admiral Hunt is he created the First Order. It wasn't Snoke, it was him. Him and Phasma together. I mean, it was a comic book. Him together, him created the First Order.
Okay, which to me that further illustrates that I wish that guy had just been this iron-fisted, almost like a Stalin character who has no emotion other than let's kill this shit.
Well, I mean that was in the Starkiller base. I mean that was. Did you see that whole line of troops and everything else?
Yes, that was that. I love that bit. But my point is, in this one, they should have continued it. So when they fired all those lasers, they said, stop. Maybe he would give maybe he would have said something like, something that says that he doesn't agree with firing all the weapons, obviously, but something that's not like Tony Stark giving a one line.
I mean, I honestly don't think it meant to come off that way. He was angry and pissed. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Stop it.
Everybody okay.
Stop now. I mean,
all right. Well, maybe that was just it came off that way.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed more like he was just kind of exasperated with the situation.
Okay, well, maybe that's just the part where I was reading too into it because, hey, guess what? We're all humans. So am I.
He probably look at it force choked to death, which happens 3 seconds later anyways, but...
Yeah.
I mean, for the audience, it was obviously like a comedic relief, but I think from him, it was more of he just exasperated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not being in control.
That's at least a good explanation for. I get that bit. And then let's get back to the showdown between Luke and the First Order, which is really cool. And then Kylo looking straight at Luke and then just kind of... It almost felt like a Vader versus Obi-Wan feel. So then we get to the showdown between Luke and Kylo, which is really, really cool. Like, they don't give anything away until the last instant. So, Mike, what did you think about that little bit, that sword fight there?
Well, I think it seemed kind of obvious from the beginning that Luke wasn't really interested in like trying to kill Kylo, because like he's just like mostly playing defense and dodging and stuff.
Right, but Kylo didn't hit him until like the last 30 seconds.
I know, but Luke, he didn't really go on the offensive, though.
I never said he did. I thought it was just a fun little duel. Like, it felt like the Obi-Wan fight from one of the original movies where he's fighting Vader in the first movie, where he's just buying time so they can get the fuck out.
Right. I mean, that was the whole... That's exactly what he was doing in that situation there. He was... well, you'll find out later when we get to it, but he was buying time and basically made Kylo Ren feel like a stupid, dumb little jackass.
Right, and not only that, I think he was trying to teach Kylo a little bit too, because, I mean, it just makes sense, because, like, right. I might have failed you as a teacher before, but now I'm teaching you a little, like, maybe you don't have to just punch everything to death. There's other ways to approach stuff. Like, I'm beating you without even actually being here, because it was a force projection. Everybody, that's the crux of that fight.
Yeah, pretty much. It was funny where Kylo comes up with his Claymore, cuts through him, slides through him, and sees him still standing there going like, 2 pieces right now. Comes up, pokes him. Oh, you got me.
Yeah, that bit was pretty cool. That reveal. Now again, Mike, you got
Yep.
it. It was probably pretty obvious to people who thought about it real quick, but for somebody like me who's real dumb and slow, I was like, oh well, they just had him jump over there real quick because he had that X-wing. Like for some reason, the X-wing can make it. I bet. So
No, I no. From the beginning, I thought he was like actually physically there, and I thought he was just. I just thought he was playing defensive to for one because he didn't really want to kill Kylo, and for two, he was buying time. I thought he was actually going to let Kylo kill him,
I
but then
see.
it turned out he was just like a force projection.
Oh, and I'm sure too. Before he went on out there with Princess Leia, his sister, he explained what was going on, and he gave her, a little trinket from Han Solo's thing, that he picked up from the Millennium Falcon. They just walked out there, and but Princess Leia would never let him like just walk out and die.
Right, but also
he had to explain to her what was going on.
I don't think he had to explain very much because that little tassel that he handed to Leia wasn't really there because it was a force projection. So when he put it into her hand, it probably just felt different. Like she could probably tell that it wasn't a real thing because she has force powers too.
Yeah.
So, like,
let's get on to the dumb point. One of the dumb points of the movie.
Go for it.
It was clearly said by everyone, even C-3PO, everyone in the whole base. Yes, of course, having explored it, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's the only way in or out.
Yeah.
The only way. And then, conveniently, there's a way out of the back.
Well, they didn't have those crystal dogs there yet, Tony. You got to have the crystal wolves.
The crystal dogs were in there when they closed the door.
Right, but the wolves weren't scared enough yet, Tony. You got to really scare the shit out of them.
I'm just calling BS on it. I'm calling BS.
That's fine. And honestly, some of those. BS. Now, again, there are flaws in this, but some of the flaws are a little bit endearing. Like, okay, that's kind of cute. Like, there are some things from the original ones that people love them even though they're flawed. There are some things that are just that way, which are, people kind of like it after a while. It grows on you.
Dave, got another one.
Go for it.
When they went to the foxholes in the front of the base, that's another way out too.
Oh, yeah.
Just let you know.
Hey, you got it.
Just let you know, that's another way out.
You got like 2-3 different ways out then, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of like everybody being wrong, the person who explained it all, maybe she was just talking out of her ass.
There's no way out of here except for these other 5 or 6 exit points.
Like it might have just been like, cause she was like, I don't know, number 3 command. She was on the bridge for the longest time. Maybe she was just talking out of her ass and she wanted to sound smart. It happens. Like she was panicking and she didn't know what to do.
You know what, Dave? I know what happened. She went up to Rose and asked Rose.
Like, hey, Rose, are there any other ways out of here? No, there's no other way out of here because secretly Rose is secretly a Sith Lord who's trying to kill everybody. So Rose, nobody thinks that Rose will do anything bad. So, of course, she's not going to lie, obviously. I bet you it was Rose's idea to put everybody on the escape pods and drift slowly down to the planet without firing any of your secondary ships. I bet you it was her idea.
It's kind of funny how Rose just sucked onto Finn as like a succubus, going like, "I will drain all of your energy from the movie."
I think we just saved her storyline where I bet you she was just a saboteur where she was explaining to everybody, we can't fire our support ships at light speed into the ships behind us because those are innocent people on board those ships. Bet you that's all she did the entire before we saw her on screen. Bet you that's all she was doing. Because I bet now I'm completely going off tinfoil hat, here comes the conspiracy theories. I bet you that the people that were going to escape the ship at the beginning were about to go to the support ships to fire them at light speed into the bad guy ships and save everybody. But Rose realized this, and she tased everyone.
You know, I got another BS point of the movie that we kind of missed. Remember when the hacker brought them through to Snoke's ship?
Yeah.
And one of the force fields went down so you get through, and she tapped the digital fucking display. Really? Are you tapping a digital display on a starship?
Well, yeah, that was kind of funny.
I don't know. I think that's kind of a human instinct, though, is to like hit things that aren't working.
Right,
Well,
that might be. But even in like severely like thousands of years advanced society, a dude would rather be like, "Oh no, it's just a faulty light on the inside," rather than something actually being wrong.
You know what? What actually is a BS thing that I didn't really like is like they went to the casino to look for that hacker, and then they just happened to find a hacker when they're in jail.
Yeah.
I wish.
Not even the right hacker.
Well, they could have explained that. Like, it would have been cool if they explained, like, well, he's actually the right hacker, but he lost the pendant to somebody else. That's where I figured they would explain it, but they didn't.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for him to be like, "Oh, I'm actually the hacker you're looking for." Be like, "Oh, big reveal."
Yeah, well, I lost my pendant to this guy that I was gambling with. You know, I could have gone with that.
Would have made a lot of sense.
We would probably maybe even see a deleted scene. I mean, that's I can't wait to see deleted scenes because it make the movie make more sense.
Maybe.
Because
it's possible. That happens a lot. With movies, they cut out really important stuff.
Right, that could have
accidentally.
That could have been because it's a very long movie. They could have just left out a little bit. But I can't wait to see.
5 seconds for great plot development, just to save time.
We need more Rose scenes. We need more time for Rose. Kids are gonna love Rose. Cut off some of the important guys. I mean, the hacker guy. Nobody likes the hacker.
Yeah, the hacker was an awesome character.
Yeah.
I can't. He's like the Imperial Han Solo, is what he is.
Well, he's kind of like the Han Solo, because original Han Solo was like, I don't care which side I'm on, and really, he wasn't on the Empire side. He was just kind of on his own side.
Right. I mean, he's a smuggler, like Han Solo was. I can't wait to see more of him in the next movie because he's gonna be there.
You definitely gotta have him. But what I can't wait for is for the next movie, because what I'm hoping they do is they try to explain why he was actually the right hacker in the next movie. Because like what they did in this movie for Phasma was the same thing, because they tried to essentially frame Phasma as the stormtrooper from the last movie who had that big ass like nightstick thing, that the one everybody's calling the TR-8R from the last movie. Because her first line in this movie when Phasma sees Finn is "traitor" or "welcome back, traitor." Like, we get it, you're not him. Like, you'd have to go back and fix the first movie to set you up.
Here's the one question I have about Phasma here is, after she let them in and override all security protocols, dumped her down a chute, why wasn't she killed?
Maybe she was just a really huge badass, and that was the one time she made a mistake.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, seriously, I mean, the way Snoke is, I mean, he'll throw around a guy around a whole bridge and all our stuff, having no problem.
They would have to know what she did, though.
Right.
Like, within all the chaos that was going on, like, they really probably couldn't figure out who did what.
She probably just slinked away. But she's also, like, as you said, apparently in the whatever comic this came out of, she and the other guy basically made the First Order, right? So she's really high ranking.
Yeah, she is.
So she wouldn't have died right away.
That's to bring up too is, and we talked about this last night too after we saw it before Mike did, but I'm sorry to see her go. That was a great character. Another thing too is we haven't seen a body, like you said too.
Right.
We haven't seen a body.
Yeah, I think
I'm sorry.
I think she's coming back with an eye patch.
Yeah, I could see it.
Right.
Okay.
Because I think they set it up for, like, I was talking with Tony yesterday about this, because they demonstrated that a regular blaster could not penetrate her armor. So obviously her armor is stronger than a regular stormtrooper's armor. It's got some sort of resistance there to energy, and they popped open her helmet with something, with that baton. So I think that when she fell into that fire, she survived, but her eye is going to be burnt to shit.
Would you like to see her in a similar Darth Vader uniform?
Well, I want to see her in something that's not just a chrome stormtrooper outfit. I want to see her in something that, because honestly, yeah, the chrome thing, yeah, that's cool, but it's just a new paint job on an old chassis. I want to see her own thing.
I mean, she has so much potential as far as what they do with her.
Right.
You know, same with Finn. I mean, they've had plenty of time to do plot development, plot character stuff, and it seems like they're more worried about a stupid starship that was run out of gas.
Well, again, Tony, they got to cut out time because Rose needs her time.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like, why would we develop this wonderful badass character who's like the second in command of the First Order when we could spend a bunch of time on some sparkle rainbow chick who, wants to save all the puppies, even though she doesn't really save all the puppies. She just kind of sets them all to like 10 feet outside of the casino without disabling anything.
She loves the puppies so much, she hugs them so hard she smothers them.
That's right. So if you put her next to some rabbits, everybody, be real careful. You got to watch that one.
Yeah, watch out for Rose and rabbits.
That's right. She might try to pet them a little bit too hard.
All right, so let's get to the big deal at the end, I guess.
I think we're pretty close to the end, yeah. So what happened? You guys enlighten me as to what happened after everybody was escaping through the mountain pass area.
Well, of course, Rey came down with Chewbacca, lifted some rocks out of an imaginary back entrance that was never there, and everyone escaped, and everyone was happy. Thank God Rose was knocked unconscious and she couldn't talk. Thank God.
I was the only bad part about that was when she like knocked Finn out of the firing area of that badass scene that could have happened. I thought, like, man, maybe she sacrificed herself to save Finn, but my hopes were dashed to pieces when they revealed that she was still alive. I was like, shit.
You know what? I'm predicting it right now. When Snoke died with a lightsaber going through him in the middle of him, he transferred his body into Rose's body. Rose's Snoke, kill her.
Yes, Rose has the consciousness of Snoke because she's so weak and defenseless. But the funny part is, Snoke is going to wake up in Rose's body and not be able to do shit. He's going to be like, ha ha, I am still alive, and then realize that she's so powerless that he would rather just be dead.
He's like, really? Come on, Forrest. What the hell's going on here?
Ah, shit. Hey, Poe, can I borrow your blaster? Sure, what are you going to... Ah, shit!
Rose just killed herself. What the hell?
And then Snoke actually comes back as a Force ghost. Ha ha, now I'm way more powerful. So, all right. So that was our opinions on this.
Well, no, you're missing the end of it.
Okay.
Mike, do the one end thing there that happened with Luke. I'll let you do that one.
Yeah, go for it. Forgot all about that bit.
Where he dies?
Yeah, where he fades away. He doesn't die, he fades away.
He died. But he chose to die, probably.
by fading away.
I don't know how that I don't know how that fading away thing works.
Same thing as Yoda.
Well, I don't know if he used up all of his power for force projection, but he pretty much became part of the force.
Yeah, it did seem like the force projection took quite a bit out of him.
Well, they even established that.
Yeah.
They established that earlier with Kylo when he and Rey are talking. He's like, well, you couldn't do a force projection because that would kill you. So that it seems to have made sense because even like maybe Luke at the height of his powers could have done it, but he's not at the height of his powers anymore. So overall, again, as we said, overall, we all three love the movie. There were some absolutely spectacular things. Rose was just not one of them. So,
Actually, I want to say this: the movie was all good and central and awesome. If they would have not had Rose in it, it would have been the best movie I've probably ever seen in my life.
That's right. It's a 9.5 out of 10. Without Rose, it's a 10.
Right.
So, but again, I know why they did it. So that they could have, like, we got a family-friendly character to sell to all the kids and the families and all that stuff. Some dude said that somewhere. I guarantee it. So
I'm just surprised Rose wasn't pooping rainbows out of her butt.
Oh, she was. They
She
just
was able to fly with a cape.
They just didn't want to show someone shitting on screen. That's the only thing, Tony.
Oh,
I guarantee you, whenever she was in the bathroom, just hunkering down, every time just a rainbow shot out.
And then the guy from Lucky Charms came on up and scooped it on up and went all over it.
She actually didn't shit into a toilet. She actually shat onto a 2x4 with a hole cut out as soft serve ice cream.
No. She shat into a black pot so the leprechauns could find it.
Okay, so overall, Star Wars was awesome, and we got brand new everything. They're trying to break away from the old. They even have a brand new Jar Jar Binks. Pretty neat. Pretty neat.
I think Jar Jar was a little bit better than Rose. Actually.
At least he had some sort of character development.
Jar Jar isn't real. He's CGI.
We can at least rest assured. But again, nothing against the actress if she's unfortunate enough to hear this.
She was just a victim of the whole. Yeah.
I would like to believe that off screen she was just like, I cannot believe I'm fucking doing this again.
Yeah, her acting, the acting itself was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when she tased Finn, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that part was awesome. When they first introduced her and she was like, "Oh yeah," and those guys escaped and I had to tase them. That bit was awesome. But the part was that was where her character peaked, and it just fell from there.
Yeah, they just like, hey Rose, could you do me a favor? Line this pile of dog shit. that would make the character so much better.
Right. Like there are a million ways that her character could have had some sort of, I don't know, depth. But let's close this sucker out because we're at an hour and a half.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so Star Wars was fun. So I'm going to hack the shit out of this just so everybody knows. I'm going to cut out all the fun stuff we did. But we got to move on. Today's Lolligaggers podcast is brought to you by Jim Bob's Barn, where only real Americans come to eat.
At Jim Bob's Barn, you can sit down to a wonderful meal with the family. We got home-cooked food, just like Mama made, because Mama did make it back at the house. It's a place where real family values matter.
And if you're trying to corrupt them values, we'll make you pay. And it'll be a heavy tax.
If you're one of them vegans, let me just say, Jim Bob's Barn, where real Americans come to eat.
Only real Americans. Come down to Jim Bob's Barn.
Slap on that feed bag.
All right, everybody, that was Jim Bob's Barn. Sounds lovely. I hope we all get to go there someday.
Dave, how do we get paid off that one? How do you pay us?
Oh, we got a group. We got a Groupon essentially.
Groupon. So
Yeah.
what the hell is that?
It's a group coupon. We can bring a group of any number we'd like, and it's good for one free all you can eat feed bag is what it says.
Feedback.
Feed bag.
Okay.
Right. I don't know if that's a euphemism or not.
Yeah. Where do we get these guys?
Well, sometimes they find us. But all right, we got to get into jaw jacking today.
Jaw jacking.
Yeah. So for anybody who's just listening for the first time, jaw jacking is a debate segment where two of us will debate a completely neutral subject. It could be something like postage stamps or something. And we have to argue whether or not that particular subject is far right or far left. Okay? So, let's see. Our debaters today, I believe, are Mike and me. Mike and myself. Mike, would you like to be left or right?
Right.
Okay, you're on the right side, so I'm on the left side. What is our subject today, Tony? Who is our moderator?
Well, unfortunately, it's Rose from Star Wars.
Rose from Star Wars. Okay.
Can I concede right now?
No, you may not. You have to defend for the conservative side and take care of it.
I will try then.
Okay, so let's flip a coin. Mike, Colton, your heads or tails?
Heads.
It is heads. Would you like to go first or second?
I will go second.
You're second. All right. So Rose from Star Wars. Clearly, she is leftist. She's a representation of the entire left party. First of all, she's a woman, so she's not a man, so she's not in the patriarchy. She's appears to be Chinese, so she's diverse, although she is technically white since she is Asian. And she behaves in the way that is in the line with the leftist side. She believes that all of the space horses in the universe are more important than defeating anybody. Like, she believes that those space horses are more important than her entire life. She let the space horses run a quarter mile away from that casino planet. She almost died, and while almost dying, she decided that it was worth letting those space horses run away. Therefore, I believe she is leftist. Thank you very much. Your turn, Mr. Conservative.
Go ahead, Mr. Mike. You have 3 minutes on the board.
Okay. Well, I mean, you got to ask yourself, why is Rose in a Star Wars movie? Like, what is her purpose? Well, when you start looking into it, I mean, she doesn't really accomplish anything in the movie. So maybe she's not there for a plot device. Maybe she's there to be an example. Maybe her character was created to be a sort of a satirical element to make fun of the far left. Her trying to saved the race animals is just thrown in there, just kind of like, oh well, we saved these race animals, and then the police can just go in and round them up right afterwards anyways. Like, it's just kind of showing everybody, hey, that the left side doesn't really make any sense. So yeah, she's just a character there to show that the left doesn't work. So she's conservative.
Okay. Is that your argument?
Yeah.
Mr. Dave, your rebuttal.
So you're saying that the character Rose from the new Star Wars movie, the one who is, in your own definition, in your own words, she is a caricature of the left.
Yes.
So then she is the leftist. She is left. Right?
Mr. Mike?
I thought he was gonna give an argument.
No, I'm giving an argument. She is the left. That is my argument. You just conceded the fact that she is a leftist caricature. Therefore, she's acting leftist. But now what my conservative friend did here, he did a little bit of a sleight of hand where he's trying to embellish the fact that the leftists are incredibly activist, and he believes that they don't do anything. Now, what he's not pointing out is the fact that even though Rose is behaving a little bit erratically and sometimes ineffectually, she always has her friend Finn's. She always has Finn's well-being in mind. She is a person who is trying to protect her friend at any cost, and her resistance side. And by doing so, she frees some children, which then further seed the future of the rebellion. I believe that the leftist is trying to raise up everybody and bring together allies for the coming conflict. So, I guess in summary, even though my opponent just admitted that she's leftist like a second ago, even though he said that she was a caricature, still leftist, she's leftist because she's trying to bring together her allies. She's trying to mend fences. And when Finn tried to do that ridiculous maneuver of sacrificing himself, she saved him. She saved him and almost died herself. Some would say that maneuver was meaningless, because if she had died instead and the laser fired through that door, then they would just come back to kill Finn anyway. But you know what I tell those people? Shut the fuck up. Quit being patriarchal, you dick. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Mike, your rebuttal?
Well, I will admit that the character herself, Rose, is leftist, but she was created to be a conservative tool to show the ridiculousness of the left side. So although Rose has these leftist ideals and acts accordingly, she doesn't accomplish anything in the entire movie.
I believe she does accomplish. May I rebuttal?
One counter rebuttal, 30 seconds.
Okay. I believe she does accomplish something in the Star Wars universe, Mr. Conservative. She shows a diverse dynamic of strong, independent women who will tase you men whenever you step out of line. And she saves children. And also, she has a twin sister, which makes her triple diverse. And what you don't know is she's actually a closeted lesbian. Quadruple. Thank you.
She didn't actually save those kids though. They're still jockeys.
She set them free, which allowed them the room to grow and imagine. And
They're
that
not
kid has
free.
force powers, and he's a Jedi. He had the broomstick. That's a lightsaber.
As a moderator, can I ask one question?
I guess so.
You said she had triplets and she was a twin.
No, I said that she was a twin, and she was a lesbian. I never said triplets. She was triple diverse.
I heard triplets in there.
She was triple diverse. Triple diverse, Mr. Moderator.
Okay.
She's Asian, she's a woman, she's at least bisexual, and she's a twin. Actually, that's quadruple diverse.
I don't know how you get all that from the movie. They didn't touch upon her sexuality at all.
What
in the movie.
What you think she's straight?
I don't know. They didn't say one way or the other.
That's what you would think. Because you're a man. Like, you don't realize that her complexity. I had it explained to me by a woman next to me. I asked, like, what does that mean? I let this woman explain it to me instead of just figuring that's the way it was.
All right, Mr. Antagonist, it is your time up. I'll give 1 30-second rebuttal to Mr. Mike.
We're
Got
waiting.
nothing.
We're waiting.
I thought we were gonna do ending statements.
Well, we can do any statements if you want to do that right now.
Well, all right. I'll just give an ending statement.
Yeah, go for the ending statement. Go ahead.
So my opponent has made a very strong case that Rose is a leftist character, which I've already agreed upon. But he's tried to make a case that she made an impact in the movie by saying that she set the jockeys free, which she didn't. They're still working as basically slaves. And, she may have helped, inspire them to maybe join the resistance someday. But, I mean, that doesn't really have much of an impact at the moment in the movie. So overall, I guess she had very minimal impact on the actual development of the plot, which just reinforces that she is a ridiculous character, which is making fun of the left.
Okay. Sounds good. Dave, what do you got there?
I think this straight, excuse me, are you white? I think you're white. Straight white man over here is imposing his, I don't want to say Nazi, but he's imposing his Nazi propaganda here. He's saying that because this character is ineffectual, that she has to be leftist. Which, by the way, thank you for conceding the point that she is leftist. I say that she's leftist and not a caricature. I say she's a leftist, and she is a beacon to which we can aspire as men. Although us men cannot reach that level, seeing as how we have these sexual organs. But, if we just grab a lightsaber, we can lop those suckers off. We can get closer. All we got to do is lop off our wangs, start making out with each other, and we're closer to rosedom. That's the new phrase I'm coining. Rosedom. It's whenever you're the epitome of everything that stands for the left. By the way, and if you don't agree with that, you're a fucking Nazi and you deserve to die. Hope you all die. Fucking Nazis.
Okay.
All those Nazis. Excuse me, Mr. Moderator. You're a white guy, right?
Well, yes, I am, sir.
All right, Nazi. Let's hear your statements. I guess. Who won? What do you fucking do? I know who's gonna win.
Statements right now.
Fucking Nazi.
I know who's gonna win.
All right.
Pretty much already there. I mean, listen to the arguments and our stuff. And Mr. Dave guy, you won.
Naturally, because
Yes.
I'm obviously arguing for the side of the virtuous and the pure, and anybody who disagrees with that is clearly a piece of shit who deserves to get gunned down, as long as they're a Nazi.
Okay,
Yeah,
David,
well,
you already won.
can have
Calm down a bit.
By the way,
Yeah,
anybody
you
who disagrees with me is a Nazi. Therefore, I can shoot anyone who disagrees with me. That's obvious.
Yeah,
Of course,
you can have Rose.
of course, anybody who is above me, anybody who's closer to Rose, can shoot me, claiming I'm a Nazi, and that's fine because I'm just a piece of shit underneath them. It's fine.
I mean, congratulations, you have Rose.
Why, thank you. I will take my Rose and go find a bachelor, I guess.
I would suggest something more, perhaps a bunker.
So everybody, that was Jaw Jackin. What do you think about Rose? Was she leftist or was she rightist? Was she useful or not? I'm going to tell you right now. Here's the answer. She was not useful. Here's how you can tell. Imagine that entire movie without her. Pretty easy, right? If she wasn't in the first scene, she wouldn't have tased Finn. I get that bit. But if she hadn't been in the rest of the movie, what would have happened? Exactly the same thing. So all she really did was annoy the shit out of me and at least my colleagues here. So again, the actress who played Rose, you did a fine job. The people who wrote the character Rose, you guys really need to just go fist yourselves. I don't know what else to tell you. See here, we've had this long Star Wars podcast today. Thought it'd be nice to introduce a new intern today. We had Paul, but he is on vacation for the holidays, Christmas, whatever, New Year's, all that.
He's not on vacation. He's arrested. Come on, let him know.
No, John was arrested. John got arrested for the marijuana sandwich, and also he was kidnapped and then distributed to Mr. Lockhart. So he, as of right now, as far as we know, he's with Mr. Lockhart. But Paul the intern is on vacation. So to fill in for a bit, we have Bob the temporary intern, everybody. Bob the temporary intern. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Hi, Bob. Hang on, Tony. Hang on. I gotta talk to Bob. Hey, Bob. How have things been lately? It's pretty good. You know, just hanging out. So, Bob. Yes. Did you happen to watch the new Star Wars movie? I sure did. You know, my favorite character was that Rose girl. She was so cute. Everything she did, I just wanted to squeeze her. Ah, those chubby cheeks. Okay, Bob. I was going to try to protect you, but that particular opinion. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, what's up?
Go for it.
Hey Bob, what's going on?
Hey, Mr. Goat, I'm doing pretty good.
Could you do me a favor? I left a package over in the locker room.
Over in the locker room, okay.
Yeah, it's all wrapped up in a paper bag with some cellophane around it. If you could do me a favor, I gotta bring it down to a guy downstairs.
Okay.
And deliver it. If you could do me a favor and deliver to that guy, that'd be really great.
Okay, I gotta go see myself. Okay, I got okay, this one. Okay. That one. Who am I gonna talk to, Mr. Goat? What's the guy look like?
Well, what you do? Well, it's a thing where we got to bring it to the sheriff station, and they gotta set up postage and classify it and do a parcel package. And it's a long drawn process. But if you could just go get it certified, have them go there and test it. Okay, if you could do that, just bring it on over there and you just come on back after that. I mean, make sure they test it though, because we gotta make sure everything's okay. Okay.
Oh, okay.
They put a notary stamp on that and make sure everything's all good. Okay. Could you do that?
Okay, sounds good. Is there any message or something I should tell them so they know it's safe?
Yeah, something like I'm responsible for 2 towers.
2 towers. Oh, like Lord of the Rings. I love that movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, give him a ring too. I mean, here you go. Ding.
Oh,
Here,
thank you. Oh, you're so nice. Okay.
That ring.
Okay. Here we go. Got the package. Excuse me, Mr. Fox. Yeah, go right ahead. Okay.
Hello, by the way, intern, tell him Rose sent you.
All right, that was Bob, the temporary intern. How do you know he's temporary? Well, he's gone, right?
I'm pretty sure he won't be back.
What makes you say that?
Well, I put a lot of flour and sugar in that package.
I see.
Yeah.
So why would that keep him away?
Well, it's from out of state, so it's illegal.
Is it from Cuba?
Could be that special Cuba flour.
I see. That's it. Okay. Well, all right. I guess that brings us to the end of the podcast today. What are the we need to do the morals of today. Tony, what is your moral of today?
Well, never stick your head up your rose.
All right, never stick your head up your rose. Sounds great. How about you, Mike?
I think all Americans should have guns.
All American. All right. That sounds perfect. All right. So today we didn't do a whole lot of variation. We kind of stuck to the Star Wars topic. My moral of today is just fuck Rose. That's it. Just fuck her. Like, again, the actress is fine. Just fuck that character and everything she stands for. From us here at Lolligaggers, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and go fuck yourself, the Rose character, not the actress. She's lovely.
Just take your head out of your rose.
That's right.
Take your head out of your rose.
All right. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.